Good morning. I wanted to post another video because it's been a while. I've had time to observe what's going on. Mostly I catch things here and there on YouTube, and I look at a couple of news articles and I kind of just see what people post on social media and what they're getting all upset about, and I also think about the predictions that my friend shared on her website, Alora's Angels, and on her services website, aloracn.com. And I think about where everything is heading and how the chaos of it all is bringing truth to light, but at the same time, people are missing important signs about what they should be doing, together as a collective. And they're getting so angry and upset about all the fraud that's uncovered again, because some of the fraud has been revealed, but it hasn't been dealt with. And it's because people just think, well, you bring something up and then you can just sweep it away. And it's like, no, that's why we have to have awareness. There's people that are in, important leadership positions that are not being real leaders. They're just sitting there and thinking that they could, get a nice paycheck and, just do whatever they want. And that's why it's important to have laws, that protect people, from being taken advantage of, that keep people from committing fraud and getting away with it. And it's not just about having law and order, it's about having structure there so that people can live a good existence without, any fear of like persecution, without any like hate. It's like laws should be there to protect people and to give them a fair chance at living a better life. But laws don't work when you got people that act like it's, optional. And these things is you got people that represent different ideologies, and some of these ideologies are very extreme, and extremism does not help create balance. It disrupts balance, it destroys things, because that's what an extreme force does. If one force overpowers another force, it will dominate that other force. And we're seeing a shift in things happen. Very recently, a church in Buffalo, New York was set ablaze. And there's been a lot of speculation in regards to that, saying, well, are they just going to put a mosque there? And a lot of concern that people have is that one religion is taking over another, but as somebody said in the comment section, it's not, like a religious ideology. It's a military dictatorship type of deal, where if you're breaking the laws in that religion, you're punished quite severely for that. And that kind of mindset does not work for a country that used to espouse, being the land of the free. That doesn't work. When you get one extreme ideology taking over on something where you got a lot of people that believe in having human rights and freedom, it doesn't mix together, because that extreme ideology does not bend, it does not flex, it consumes, because it is the will of their higher power. And whatever higher power they're serving, that's evil. It's like, if you're gonna do violence and oppress people, that's an evil higher power that they are serving. You cannot say that people of that ideology are about peace, because if they were, they would not be killing people, they would not be doing any of that. And sometimes it's baffling that people are unable to open up their minds. It's like indoctrination happens in different ways. And a lot of it works super well because a mind that's closed is a mind that is not open to truth. You break free from indoctrination by being open to truth. And through Alora's teachings, I have learned that a lot of the ways that I was thinking as I was growing up was very limiting. Because when you go from being a kid at such a young age, going into kindergarten all the way up through 12th grade, you learn the rules that they teach you. You learn the facts that they teach you. And you basically get trained to not really question anything. Even though they say that they encourage critical thinking, it's like, no, a lot of the times teachers just want you to ingest what they give to you. Like the teacher is the sole source of information, because so many people grow up thinking that because they studied something a lot, that means that they have a higher position than other people. And it's subtle. It comes out in subtle ways where a person, just because they know a lot, will start elevating themselves above another person. The educated versus the uneducated. And when you have somebody that unconsciously, acts out that kind of attitude, it starts creating a divide. It starts, further reinforcing that people can't question authority, that they can't expect to be able to audit authority. And subliminal messaging happens in so many different places and in so many different ways. You don't need an extreme ideology to lull people into a false sense of comfort. You could give people anything they want. You can entice them with things that sound good and give them hopes and dreams to look forward to. And a lot of times people don't have the sense to say, well, who's telling me these things and are they trustworthy? People don't stop to think about that. They just jump on something because it sounds good. And it comes from their upbringing. It comes from society. It comes from, how they govern themselves. And it's like, if people can't just break free from the habitus that they were born into to really be critical thinking and discerning, they're going to look at what was normal in their life as the thing that should be. And a lot of times, it's not as good as you think. And this is why the chaos is happening. The chaos is happening because people had to wake up and realize what I thought was normal and good was just a cover for something that was actually quite bad. There's daycare fraud. There's, one belief system versus another belief system. There's, fear mongering, being promoted by influencers. And influencers have a very big mouth, but they don't have a lot up here. And this is just me speaking from a Native background. I noticed that about non-Native people, where, people that aren't Indigenous, they kind of get big-headed about things, and then they start doing a lot of this, but there's not a whole lot of this going on. They don't look at something, they don't observe it, they don't reflect on it, and they don't digest what they see to figure out what's really going on. It's like you gotta process things in multiple layers. And it's not the fun and exciting way to live life. It's not by the seat of your pants. It's more masterful, it's more grounded, it's more graceful and more humble. There's more virtues being exercised there, because it's like you're not just jumping at any blinking light or, flashy sound, or like a sound could flash. But, you know, if you follow what I'm saying, there's a way that indigenous people look at things that tends to be a bit more grounded. And Alora told me that they're original starseeds, that they are the OG people. If the colonizers, if people that aren't earth seeds taking these earth seeds seriously, we have problems with losing valuable ecosystems. We got problems with greed. We got problems with over reliance on big oil. We got problems with thinking that EVs are the future, when those things just drain the grid and eat away at your aura. As you put holes in your aura. You're going to drive a car that's an EV, you're going to put holes in your aura, you're going to weaken your aura as you drive the car. That's not good. Everything is energy. And the way you think, the way you speak is all energy. It's all frequencies. How you feel is frequency. And my friend said emotions are psychic. They tell you something. But the problem with people and their emotions is they only see the surface. They don't stop to say, what am I actually feeling? They don't sit back. They don't reflect on it. Because why not? Because it gets taught like it's not fun. They want the instant gratification of just overreacting to things rather than being responsible with their energy, sitting back and saying, what am I feeling? What is it telling me? How do I move forward? What choices am I going to make that are going to respect my boundaries and respect the other person's boundaries? People don't stop to think that way. They just want to react. They want to lash out. They want to hurt people. And that is a violation of what the most sacred law of the universe: harm none. And people harm themselves and harm each other all the time, with the way they think, with the way they look at things, with how they respond to people, with what they believe in, with everything that they do. Is if you say you love somebody, it has to be completely. You can't just love somebody part of the time, love them on Monday, hate them on Tuesday, love them on Wednesday. No, you can't just love them for one thing or the other but hate them for everything else. You can't do that. That's partiality, and that's not real love. Real love is very all-encompassing. It endures, it's kind, it's compassionate, it's merciful, it's forgiving. And people don't know what love is. They encounter my friend and they think she's weird because she's naturally loving. And love doesn't really exist here. A superficial sense of love exists here. But real, heavenly, unconditional, untainted, uncorrupted love does not exist, except within a few people that have done enough work on themselves to see God or the universe or source within them. You have to recognize that this world is a reflection of the people that control it. Your pedophiles, your, warmongers, your dictators, the people that do petty crime, the people that money launder, the people that embezzle money. It's all revolving around money. It's so strange how they've used a currency system to enslave others. And you gotta stop and say, wait, why is a certain political figure calling people to do war against someone else? Why did somebody say that they were a wartime president? Why does his name, played backwards, spell martial law? and you start to sit back and you look at everything, it's all interconnected. All these people in powerful positions have those positions not because they're good. They have it because they're all in on it. They're all in on the same wicked schemes. Good people don't last very long in this world. They die young. And it's true. Evil people seem to last forever. And it's because it's evil people that are currently in power and have been in power for a very long time. You can't vote for blue or for red because it's the same evil cabal. You can't choose one side or the other because they're both corrupted. You can't even vote independent because some of those people are corrupted too. Anybody that goes out there and says, I want power or I want to be a leader, chances are they have something under the surface that is corrupted. They're probably not bad as a whole, but the moment you start feeding the black wolf, the dark wolf, whatever wolf you like to think of it as, the moment you start feeding that one, it grows stronger. People don't take the two wolves and just bring it together to make something that's pure. They don't become a lamb. They have wolves and they just let it go back and forth. And you don't fix or heal anything by being a wolf and just tearing at things and being aggressive. And you see things heal when you become a lamb. And the sheep are very innocent creatures. They're not killing anything. They're not harming anything. And don't get bogged down in the exact, facts and information. It's just, think of it from a spiritual perspective. A sheep is very innocent. When you look at white wool, that symbolizes purity. And a good shepherd will lead the sheep away from danger. But the problem is, a lot of these sheep are running with the wolves. And for what reason? What do the wolves have that is so attractive? Jeffrey Epstein has a lot of connections. They're political, they're celebrity, it runs deep in Hollywood. And my friend Alora said that there's a lot of symbolism that gets used in Hollywood. They communicate things through the movie trailers that they put together, for the movie projects they take on, because they're all in on it. And people that get silenced in the music industry or in Hollywood or anything else associated with that, it's because they saw the truth and they try to get away from that evil, that darkness. And it's like those that sold out, they make themselves at home with that evilness. They don't care about how wickedness hurts others. They don't care about how it victimizes the innocent. They don't care, that, somebody gets abducted or, whatever. A little bit of evil allows for more evil. It's like a cancer. You can't say you're cancer free if a little bit of it is still there. Rather than just managing the little bit of evil that's still there, why not become good? It's not as hard as people think it is. It is a lot of work, though. It's not impossible. And I've learned a lot from many different experiences. I've been around here for a very long time. And I've learned a lot about being humble. I've learned a lot about, setting my feelings aside for others. I've learned about forgiveness, and I'm naturally built to be forgiving, to be somebody that would set themselves aside for others, to be somebody that, wants to see harmony for the whole collective, somebody that wants peace to be for real and not just the fake brand that they promote all the time. A Nobel Peace Prize sounds nice, but it doesn't actually address anything. You want to know why? Because if Heavenly Father had his way, if people stopped resisting his way, there would be no cancer, no need for pharmaceutical companies to make millions or billions. There would be no dictators, no slavery. There wouldn't be any money. If he had his way, if people stopped fighting, there would be no death. People would be able to live long and abundant lives. People would be able to, be more mindful of the choices that they make, more mindful of what they're thinking about. The world would be beautiful. There would not be any corruption. But the reason why we have all this death is because of evil. It's because of the vices, the deadly sins. If people could just stop feeding the wolves and become lambs, then things would improve. And that's what has to happen. But any extremism that you see in this world, it's not about human rights, it's about control. And what kind of future are we heading towards right now? Is it people just want to live a life of misery? It's like it all comes down to a choice. What kind of future do you want? What you do now creates that future. What you focus on creates that future. Be responsible for how you live your life. Be accountable. And if more people can be accountable for how they do things, if the more people change, we could see change happening on a larger scale. We have to stop with the nonsense because it's really stupid. It's stupid. And being an awakened person and watching the madness unfolding, it's baffling how stupid people have gotten these days. It is very baffling, but a lot of it has to do with what people put up in here. Clean this up, and you'll start to see reality clean up. Get rid of evil, and paradise can happen. But evil has to die. And it's always your choice. So I just hope you choose the right one. God, or with whatever this is. Oh, I'm going to be a Republican. I'm going to be a Democrat. And it's like, that's not fixing anything. Those political parties are not fixing anything. It's either you're siding with them or you're siding with the universe. Pick one and stick with it. See ya.